I have great respect for Mexico. I love the Mexican people. They're incredible people. Look, it's very simple. We have to have a wall.
U.S. relations with Mexico have been thrust into the spotlight early in the Trump administration, and today, America's long-standing friendship with Great Britain will be taking center stage as that country's prime minister will be visiting the White House. Joining us now to analyze it all, political science professor Matthew Wilson of SMU. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
So the Mexican president, Enrique Peña Nieto, was scheduled to meet President Trump at the White House next week. That meeting abruptly canceled. So what's going on here? How serious is this rift?
Well, diplomatically, it's a fairly serious rift, and it'll be hard to paper over because Donald Trump has to be able to tell his people that he made Mexico pay for the wall. And Peña Nieto cannot have his people believe that he agreed to pay for the wall. So that puts them at a bit of an impasse, and it'll be difficult for them to find a way out of that mess.
And yet you were saying it may be in President Trump's interest to find a way to maybe help out the Mexican president because his opposition in Mexico is much more anti-American.
That's right. The leftist opposition in Mexico is much more confrontational towards the United States than Peña Nieto is. The ideal thing here is to find a face-saving out for both sides, but that requires some delicate diplomacy, which is not necessarily Trump's strong suit.
Okay, also at the White House today, British Prime Minister Theresa May. Now, she has been saying nice things about President Trump, clearly trying to establish a warm and friendly relationship at a time when a lot of other European leaders are expressing some concern, maybe anxiety about what could lie ahead for the U.S. relationship with Europe and NATO.
That's exactly right. Theresa May has really stressed the special relationship that has historically existed between Britain and the United States. And that's a relationship that was perhaps not at its healthiest under President Obama. But now she would like to see that reinvigorated with President Trump in the lead. And it does no good for a foreign leader to demonize the new president of the United States. No matter what you may think of him, it certainly makes sense, and she has realized that, to cultivate a healthy relationship.
And yet there is uncertainty about the U.S. alliance and relationship with Europe at what European leaders certainly would consider a critical time.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any certainty about the bilateral relationship between Britain and the United States, but you're absolutely right that there is some unclarity about the multilateral relationship, NATO, the United States' commitment to European security vis-a-vis Russia. So these, I'm sure, will be things that they'll talk about.
You know, and returning now to the situation with the Mexican president, I heard one analyst last night saying, well, Donald Trump did give us the art of the deal. And right now, there just could be some positioning going on as far as the dispute over the wall. The president, angling for a negotiating position.
That's right. Eventually, they'll have to negotiate some sort of settlement that both sides can live with. And the reality is that you can't just start slapping tariffs willy-nilly on Mexico. That creates problems with the World Trade Organization, with NAFTA, a whole host of issues. But this may be Trump's opening gambit in a negotiating session from which he'll eventually back off.
All right. Matt Wilson with SMU. Thank you so much for the chat. We appreciate it.